Hello and welcome back to another episode of making art in my garage late at night. I'm super excited to get to work today because today I'm doing the blue on the suits. Well, it's going to be more of a gray, and I'm doing the red on the phones. It's just going to be good. This fancy apparatus that I'm wearing is an old GoPro that I found in my stuff that I totally forgot that I had. And I'm hoping that it will work, and I'm hoping that I'll get some extra special footage of painting. I have covered up the painting to make it more interesting. Anyway, I can't wait to get started. I'm gonna get changed here and we are gonna get to work. All right, so today we're gonna start with the phones. Shiny part, the part that's getting hit by light. I have this right here, which is called flag red, and that is an apt name for it. It looks like you could paint a flag with this red. It has like a slight orangey color. This one's called real red, as opposed to fake red. And let me see if I can show you. This one is the real red, this one is the flag red. So what I'm hoping that this red, this lighter red does, is it makes it look like the phones that get this treatment. I hope that they look kind of like there's you know, kind of like light shining on them. The thing about this painting is that I don't think there's really an identified light source per se, of like where the light's coming from. But as soon as we start putting down the paint on the suits, I think it's going to be kind of looking like it's coming from the top. Painting with this flat brush is just it's really nice. The paint goes on really well. It holds a decent amount of paint. I'm pretty sure it's a synthetic brush. I don't know much about brushes. I don't know what the real difference is between like a synthetic and a natural fiber brush would be. Like I'm sure there's people who prefer one to the other. I just prefer the brushes that work, and this one works. I always think about that phrase, a good workman never blames his tools, and I always strive to be a good workman. So I've never had the habit of saying, you know, if I had a better pencil or if I had a better pen, this would turn out better, if I have better paint. I think you can do a lot with whatever resources you have. It really depends on your own skill level and imagination. I don't think that giving somebody good paint and nice brushes is gonna, you know, automatically make them a good painter. But on that note, anything is possible with any kind of paint, any kind of supplies. It's your imagination is really what limits you. If you don't have an imagination, or if you can't use your imagination for some reason, well then that's what's really your limiting factor there. Because your imagination is it's an amazing thing. And it's funny because people think of imagination as like, oh, that's something that children use. That's what, you know, that's what kids use when they're little babies playing on the playground and pretending to be cowboys and Indians. I'm a grown adult. I don't need to use my imagination for anything. Wrong. If adults didn't use their imaginations, we wouldn't have things like cars or electricity, because pretty much every single invention came about because somebody was using their imagination and thinking, what if I could do this and this and this, and then they started working at it and then they made it real. So for those of you who think, imagination, that's just for the children, think again. It's for everybody. You should always strive to use your imagination. It's a very powerful tool, Because anything that you can see in your mind's eye, you can make it a reality. If you can dream it, you can be it, kind of thing. And I know there's people out there who will say, no, that's not true. I can dream all I want and nothing will come of it. And you know what? That limiting mindset will make their reality, true. It'll make that true for them because they think, well, I can't do this, and lo and behold, they don't. It's so much easier to say, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this because of my circumstances, or I can't do that. It's much more difficult to picture yourself doing things and then acting upon doing them. That's why not as many people succeed in life, because a lot of people have a very defeatist attitude. And if you're able to change your attitude, you're able to change the way that you think. You're able to change the way that you view the world, and then the world changes around you. It's pretty amazing stuff what you can do with your imagination. So, I guess what I'm saying is, I imagined that these phones were going to be red, and look, they're red. It's the power of imagination at work. This has nothing to do with art. Well, I guess it has a little bit to do with art. I saw a thing today that there's like protests going on across the United States. I don't actively look at news, but news-related things will pop up in my feeds on different social medias, or I'll, my wife will talk to me about certain news-related things. And so, on my feed, this reel popped up about the protests going on, and I noticed something very strange. Well, I guess it's not that strange, but the protest, if like viewing it out of context, such as I was, because I wasn't really aware that there were protests, and I wasn't aware like what the goal of the protests was. But looking at the signs, I would have guessed that it wasn't actually a real protest, because all the signs were like, they were like joke signs. They were like trying to be, I think they were like trying to be funny. There was a sign that said, where do I even start? like no concrete like message whatsoever. And I thought to myself that it's very strange how, I keep saying very strange, it's a little bizarre that you can look at a protest and not immediately know what it's protesting, because all the signs are so disjointed and they're like trying to be funny, because people are probably posting about their signs on like social media and posting about their attendance of the protest on social media, and I feel like it just defeats the whole point of protesting. If you're protesting something, I thought, then you generally come at it with you should come at it with like it's something serious, right? It affected your life to the point where you went out of your way to go and protest this thing. So why wouldn't you take it seriously? Why would you make a joke sign and go out and basically joke protest? And I don't know if that's like a sign of the times or a sign of just like how people are these days, but if I ever felt strongly enough to protest something, I'd be out there like throwing bottles or lighting Molotov cocktails, throwing bottles, kicking cops, I don't know, doing something meaningful, But what I'm trying to say is that people would know what I was protesting and if I was serious about it. But if I went to a protest and I just brought like a funny sign. It seems kind of just like a picnic or something. Like where you go eat, it's like something to do. You like call your friends and it's like, hey, you going to the protest? Yeah, bro, going to the protest. You want to get high first? Yeah, totally, bro. Let's get high and go to the protest. It just doesn't seem, I don't know. It doesn't seem serious. It doesn't seem legitimate. But whatever people are protesting, they didn't seem too upset, you know? It seemed like people were just out hanging out, taking photos with each other, having a good time. So, I mean, protests like that, whatever they were protesting, I don't think they're going to get much done. But, I mean, I guess if the goal was to have fun, I think they achieved that. Oh, I'm lucky I have this chair here. Whatever. Very sludgy. I thought it would be a little bit more watery, but it's probably because I added too much poop. I think I mentioned before that I want it to be a little bit more on the watery side because I want it to remain translucent so we retain the texture of the canvas so that the suits still look like fabric. Because I'm a professional. I'm a professional, famous professional artist. And you can be one too. Just buy my book and I'll show you how. I'm wondering what would be the best brush for this sloppy. I need something that's not too big, I've realized, because there's some parts that are small. They do like these square brushes, but I'm not sure if this is going to be the time or the place. Let's try it. Let's try it out. This brush doesn't exist. We'll just say it's a synthetic skink. What did that say? Oh, it says I think that's the price. I think this thing is an old brush. I think it's an old synthetic Russian brush. So, gosh, I don't know if this is, I want it to be waterier. This is quite thick. This is not, I need more water. And another thing that's kind of interesting about this dog poop paint is that since it's kind of this weird consistency, the actual blue paint, it's breaking up into these tiny little blue particles. So when I take the paint and I brush it on the canvas, you can actually see these tiny little blue streaks within the gray-blue medium. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just something to note. It's just kind of interesting. So this is pretty watery, but I'm gonna add a little bit more water. I know you're probably sick of it being like, just dump the whole thing. Just add all the water. I think what my nervousness comes down to is that I only want to mix this paint once. And I want to get this part that I want to do done in one thing. Because if I don't, then it means I'm going to have to mix this paint again. And I don't want to do that. Well, now that I've applied that, I'd say with some confidence that I need to add more black. Because I feel like this is the original. This is just like the original color. It's almost a little bit more blue. Whoops. Alright. Oh boy. It's definitely watered down enough. Alright, cool. This is all I have to do. We'll make it work. It's interesting because the paint, as I've mentioned, hasn't fully mixed. So I'm getting streaks of black, getting streaks of blue. Mostly streaks of black now because of the unmixed black that I just jumped in here. I think it's just like sitting on the bottom. I tried to stir it, but it kind of didn't really let me. I'm definitely happy with the consistency because it's nice and watered down. So now I'm just going to go around and add darkness to where I think darkness needs to be added. It's kind of hard to tell with all this glare in the way though. Hey.
Looks good.
Thank you. Trying to get the suits to put some shading on the suits. And then I'll do the ties and then I'll do the outline and then it'll be pretty much done. How's it going? Worktown.
That's fine. I just showed Ted the bomber.
Oh, what did he say? We'd never do anything for alien life.
No, he was just like, oh, it's dark web.
Yes, it is. In that it's a spider web.
There's a few different options for like connected or allow Alex interpreted connected. Caleb spiderweb best.
You can't own spider webs. That's a star. Straight up, webs and skulls are very generic. It's all about the execution.
But you look completely different. It's like that one's all cyber and whatever.
Yeah, it's like hyper digital.
Yeah.
It looks like a goddamn, what's it called, circuit board. Whereas this one looks like a fuzzy tarantula. One thing about Alex's work that I feel like that shows up in a lot of his work is symmetry of it. But it's like, if you make an asymmetrical spider, then it's just going to look like one of those Black Widow tattoos or something. Like, it doesn't work for graphics if you make spiders asymmetrical. Alright, so I'm not sure how I feel about this exactly yet. It's shaping up to be a little weird looking, and I'm just gonna trust the process and I'm just gonna keep going. The paint is taking a little while to dry up here, but as soon as it starts drying, I'll get a better idea of what exactly I'm doing, and I think I'll be able to figure it out. The problem that I'm seeing is that I'm having a difficult time deciding whether to just do hard line shadows, such as this right here, or this right here, or blended shadows like this right here. I think ultimately I'm going to go for blending, because the hardline ones, they work, but I want a slightly more... The hardline shadows, to me, it breaks the fabric into these two separate pieces, whereas I want it to just flow together. The only place where I really see a need for hardline shadows is because the phones are casting the shadows. I think that's pretty essential, but in terms of on the arms and I think here, for example, I would like to fix it to be more soft. And also, of course, hardline shadows in the little creases. Either way, I think it's going to turn out quite nice. All right, I think I'm getting to a place where I am liking what is happening. The contrast of the dark and the light blue is really making the yellow pop more, which I find that to be very nice and refreshing. I like that a lot. Then there's these spots where I just have to fill in with as dark of a fill as I can, because it's this ambiguous dark space that we don't really know what's going on back here. I was thinking a couple days ago that it would be really funny to make a sculpture of this and have the guys in the back just have really long legs. They're all actually just standing here. I mean, see you tomorrow. How interesting. I'm learning so much.